Hello, and welcome to this August 22nd edition of Off the Map Live. We're coming from our brand new space, the Majestic Theater in Easthampton, Massachusetts. Welcome. This is a temporary set you see behind me. These lovely curtains. You might recognize them from our old flagship shop. Welcome. I know it's been a while. We've had a lot of work to do around here, and we finally got it done. So, this episode is brought to you by the Paradise Tattoo Gathering, which is coming up soon, October 20th through the 23rd in Hancock, Massachusetts. It's a tiny little ski resort town. It's a very curated show. If you're interested in being up close and personal with some of your favorite tattoo artists, you should definitely try to make it out there. It's a beautiful venue. There is a mountain coaster, and there are ropes courses, and of course, tattooers from all over the globe. Get your tickets at ParadiseTattooGathering.com. If you're an artist interested in getting a booth, I'm sorry, they're gone. But try next time. That'll be our last big event that we're going to be doing for a while. We're going to focus here on this brand new space that we have. It's huge. We've got Black Work Weekend coming up soon. If you're curious to see the new space, stop on by. I'll show you around. We are also brought to you by Reinventing the Tattoo, now in digital form. You've seen it in books, but now it is out of print and only available in digital form. Check out reinventingthetattoo.com. It is a fully updated textbook from Guy Easthampton. There's online videos and guest chapters from people like Russ Abbott, Nick Baxter, Don McDonald, Megan Jean Morris, Halo, and more. We're also brought to you by our generous sponsor, Dax McClellan. Dax McClellan offers a portrait tattoo workshop, tattooingportraits.com. Check it out. It's pretty in-depth. If you need if you got to touch up on your portrait styles, check out tattooingportraits.com. As always, brought to you by Voluta Tattoo and the Tattoo Release Form app. We use it here. It's in iPad form. I wish I had one with me right now. I usually would show it to you. It's great. We've been using it for over a year now, and we've eliminated paper release forms. So we aren't killing trees anymore. We don't have to store records for years and years and years. It's really easy to use. It saves your client files on the cloud. You can access them anytime, so your local Board of Health can check them out. It's completely secure, so your client's information doesn't just get out there everywhere. And as always, we are brought to you by Off the Map Tattoo, where we are right now. We've got a location here in Easthampton, the brand new one at 84 Cottage. We've got a location in Grants Pass, Oregon, headed up by the one and only Jeff Gogwe. And we have a location in Italy. In that shop, we are partnered with Alex DePasse. Like I said, we've got Black Work Weekend coming up. Stop by. You can check it out in person. We've got some really amazing artists. And there will be a meet and greet on September 9th. We'll have a little opening party here, maybe some music for you, and some good food and drinks. Lastly, check out Adam France's new book, Proto-Science. It's available now. It's great. It's all of his sketches and ideas and everything consolidated into this one beautiful book. He spent a long time working on it. Check it out. You can just Google Adam France, Proto-Science. On this episode, we are speaking with John Anderton. He's going to be Skyping in from the UK, and we're going to be speaking with a local reggae legend, Ras Jahn. We're going to try to add a little bit more music to this format. I hope you enjoy it. Should be a great conversation. He's lived a long life. He's got a lot to tell us. Upcoming episode, we're going to be speaking with Don Cook. If you didn't see the last episode, we spoke with Jesse Smith all about the Virginia Tattoo Convention. You can check out our past episodes on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and comment. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. If you subscribe, you'll be notified every time we put up a new video. We're doing it all the time. So we will be back in just a few moments with John Anderton via Skype. Please stick with us. And here's some sponsor ads for you.
What is a webinar? It's your chance to up your game and improve yourself with new techniques in art, in business, and tattooing. Webinars are streaming professional development seminars taught by the masters of their craft that you can watch in the comfort of your home, your studio, or even on the go on your mobile device. If you have a stable internet connection, you can stream a webinar. Here at Tattoo Now, we continually produce high-quality video presentations from top artists and business people. Our catalog includes hours of education from greats like Guy Aitchison, Bob Tyrell, DJ Betts, Jeff Gogway, Russ Abbott, James Kern, Tommy Helm, Ian McCowan, Kelly Doty, Rummer Oriana, and more all the time. These professional artists share their years of experience to accelerate your path and help you become more successful. Fill up on high-octane brain fuel now with a Tattoo Now webinar. Do you want to bring your career to the next level? Then webinars from Tattoo Now can help you do that.
Hey, how are you?
Good. You?
I'm great. Welcome to the show. Our internet's a little wonky right now, so.
We don't know, like.
So I'm just going to ask you to speak up a little, just so that everyone can hear you. The internet's a little laggy, so.
You hear now, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you all right. So
Okay, good.
can you tell me a little bit about yourself? When did you start tattooing?
I guess it was like this time 2007, so like 9 years ago now.
How did you find yourself in the
Does it
world?
work?
Yeah, how did you find yourself in the world of tattoo? How did you get there?
I was working in a factory, building Caterpillar trucks, so working for Caterpillar, and I hated it there. It wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. So it was kind of like I'd done something wrong. There was like some sticker that was supposed to be taken off the truck by someone, and I didn't know who was supposed to take it off. It wasn't my job, but it's it's one of those jobs that's nobody's
Yeah, I understand.
job. So I did and left it on, put it, went to the end of the line, and then I got got picked up, and it was like 20 hours worth of work to do to take it, put it back. So like I got put on a training wage for doing that. So I figured I was just going to buy a tattoo machine and have a go at tattooing. I know it's not the best way to start, but I figured maybe I could make some money that way. It didn't quite work like that, but I kind of fell in love with it straight away. And then I was kind of tattooing friends. I had a lot of friends who'd let me tattoo. But I was also friends with a guy who owned a studio in Catterick. But yeah, I was friends with a guy down there, and I'd been like tattooing for a month, and he offered me a job there. Like, I was talking to him and showing me work, and he's saying he was surprised that it was good enough after such a short time or something, So started working there. It wasn't very good though, but there I had the opportunity to get better, like because I was working every day on people. Then not long after that, I got sacked from the Caterpillar job because of breaking some air guns. The pneumatic. Is it pneumatic?
Yeah.
The air-powered drills.
Yeah.
I broke them, and I got fired for doing that. So I just went that afternoon. I just drove straight to the studio and started working, and I became full-time from there.
Well, that's pretty easy. You got
The access.
That's not the normal path for sure.
Oh no, yeah.
So I've noticed your style. You're pretty diverse. You do everything. I mean, you do like color realism, black and gray realism. You do, like you do cute stuff too. Like, how did you develop such a well-rounded style?
I think it was just because I loved tattooing. I loved doing it. When I first started, it was like I was just obsessed with it. But this is what I do. Like when I get a new hobby, I just go at it 100%. I buy all of the things I can buy, what I can afford at the time, or I buy all of the magazines or books that I can find on the subject. And I'm a massive nerd, so I just geek out on the subject. And with tattooing, it was like, it's cool because I was enjoying just making tattoos, like doing lines and then colouring them in. Then I find that there's like this whole blending thing that you can do there, or there's black and grey where it's like it's a completely different technique. So it's like if I was ever getting bored of one thing, I could just move on to a different thing and try that. You know, like it's different movements, different, different inks, different setups. They all react differently. So it was kind of fun to do that. And it's also like, I like the look of the different things as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it just from like, I'm looking at tattooing from it's a thing, and I want to know how to do it. Like I love the thing, so I'm trying to figure out things. So this is why I kind of wanted to when I was learning, you know, like to look at different styles and figure out how to create that. Like my mind works like mechanically like that. You know, I break it down and then I build this like picture of how I think it was created. You know, like try and figure out which hand movements you use, which needles, which machines, this kind of thing. And that I think it's just automatically me looking down that path had found. When I look back behind me, you know, like there's all these different styles. I didn't even think I was really doing like trying to do the different styles. It's just it's kind of just a map of what's going on in my head, I guess. You know, like it's going all over the place all the time.
Right on. Hey, can you explain these terries that you do? These little plant creatures?
Yes, I meant to find this book, you know, before I started here. Is that it there? Okay, so I was at Milan convention. It was like I went through, you know, I was saying like when I was saying just then, I'm saying when I was learning, you know, when I was going through, when I was starting my career, like the first, well, quite a lot of years, I guess now, because it's like 9 now. So the first 5 or 6, I just loved it the whole time, you know, like, and then at some point I started to lose that love for it.
Sure.
And this, I think it happens in life with anything that you do, you know, like you lose your drive sometimes. It's like maybe you have to figure out, or is now the time to move on to the next thing? In amongst figuring that out, like now I've started doing rap music, you know, like it's like I grew up loving metal music, but I did have a Dr. Dre album and an Eminem album, and I love both of those, and I learned the words from them and stuff. But it's never really done anything else apart from just listen to those occasionally. And more recently, as I've been like trying to figure out the things that I want to do in life, the things I want from myself or from my experience, there was like there's something missing. And this is when I started like not enjoying tattooing so much anymore. And this thing started feeling like it was missing. And I found that at that time. And it was like, it's like when I remember when I first ever started tattooing, it was like, you don't have time for anything else because it's all consuming. It takes over everything, you know. You don't have time to like go out with your friends anymore. And it's not because tattooing's taking your time up. It's not like it's bad and it's taking it away from you. You just don't want to. You want to be there doing it. Like it's like I'd rather be colouring in right now than doing that thing, watching the telly or something at home. And the same thing happened with the music there. So it's kind of right at the beginning of getting into the music, it done the same thing, you know, like it pushed tattooing a little bit to the background while I was already not in love with it at the time.
Right.
So it was like it was pushed further again. So I had like a lot of things to learn inside of myself. I was going through some bad times. You know, it's like this whole like you need to figure out where you are. Yes, maybe it means I'm like maybe I'm halfway through now. But anyway, when I was going through that thing, it's kind of one of the things that I missed loving tattooing, you know, like I was able to do it. I'm still doing it like on different days, not every day because at the same time, because I love tattooing, I respect it. If I'm not going to enjoy the piece and I know I can't do the best job I can do. So I wasn't taking work because of that.
Right.
So I know that I need to still do this thing because there is some part of me that loves it. I know this is a long story here just for this, but
no, it's great.
I tried to do that mechanical.
That's exactly why we're here.
Oh, cool. So I did that mechanical thing again, like what I did at the start, where I like tried to figure out what it was about tattooing that I loved. So I'm just sitting sketching, you know, doing these little thumbnail sketches, and I was at Milan convention. It was like a random one. Richie Bulldog, the guy who has Hustle Butter, he's a good friend of mine. They sponsor me. They give me the Hustle Butter, and he takes to different conventions all over the place.
Yeah.
So Richie had like messaged me about Milan convention.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like I was just saying for the nails, the things that were fun, just whatever random shit, because like this is one of the things that I'm figuring out that I liked about tattooing. There's certain shapes that I like. There are certain effects that I like to create. You know, certain colors I like to use, and there's certain ones that I don't like to create. Certain colors I don't like to use. Certain effects that I don't like. So I try to just get rid of everything I don't like and only have the stuff that I do like. So what I kind of ended up with was like these random little circles that were just easy to draw, like shading in the circle. You know, when you first ever learn how to draw, you get taught shade a circle. So you get like, it goes from light all the way around to dark, and then you have light, then the shadow on the bottom to create the circle. I learned that when I was a kid, you know, and I've always loved it, knowing that one little bit of information or something. So I quite enjoy like recreating that thing. So that's one of the shapes. So, you know, like everything's made out of basic shapes anyway. But like I say, I'm just scribbling away in this book, and here's the sketches that just, you know, rough as I was going. I don't know if they'll even show up on there, will they?
Oh, yeah, totally. I can see them.
And you see, where's he at? This side, this guy there. It's very rough on my screen now. I don't know if that like shows up properly.
I can see it great. Yeah, it looks good. I can definitely tell what that is.
As I'm drawing, like this automatic drawing, it's just like, you know, spending 10 seconds on each one. Scribble, not quite right. Scribble, or maybe this one's all right. Refine a little bit. No, next, like this. And this one just where the pen just lands in the right place for the head, and then it lands in the right place for everything. You know, like it's like. There's even some bit where like I maybe twitch as someone walks past and I smile or say hello, and I realise my pen has landed where an eye would go. So I'm like, okay, maybe a second eye. And I'm just like, there's something in this one. There's something that this has got. So I put it down and figured I'd go and walk around, have fun, like, you know, because I've achieved the thing. At that moment, I feel like I've got this feeling. I've done what I'm supposed to do now. What I feel like I'm supposed to walk around, and I believe I'm supposed to follow these things. So that's what I was doing, even going to Milan in the first place. So I came back and I feel like I'd found something in Milan. I feel like I was way happier. Like I loved tattooing again. Like not as much as I do now. But I could feel that it had started again. It started to come back, the love that I had before. So I'm sitting there refining this little sketch one day, and a friend of mine said, "What is that thing on the pot there? If it's even a pot, because some of them are just little floating islands."
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not sure. She's like, maybe it's is it like. It looks like a belt, and I'm like, I guess it could be a belt. It was supposed to be like a gem, maybe, I think, but like, I suppose it could be a belt. It could be anything. I'm like, I could decorate this guy. Like, this would be awesome if I just like, I could put him little hats on. I could bend his leaves and make different shapes and have it as just a fun tattoo. It's just a sticker that you just put on. You know, like I was worrying so much about getting the flow and all of the different things. You know, everyone wants a sleeve these days, it seems. And that was getting me down as well, because one of the things that I loved about getting tattoos, and one of the things I loved about doing them in the first place, is sitting there colouring in a little picture. You know, you finish the picture, you get to look at the picture, you're happy, the customer's happy, yeah, nice, let's go. It maybe doesn't look as good as something that's flowing perfectly with the body and has all of the rules in there, if you like. And there are no rules, obviously, but they create certain effects by adding these things in. And I just didn't want to worry about that anymore. I just wanted to make it so it was just fun. So as part of this, taking it back to the moment when it was fun in tattooing, this little guy, this Terry, was that perfect thing. You know, it's like I don't have to worry about the drawing every day. I don't have to worry about making this whole full composition. You know, the composition was the part that, like, I know I can do it. It's just a lot of work, and it's not necessarily fun every time. So the composition was already done. All I've got to do is draw some little details or something, and you know, put the little nerdy things in. Like on this one, if you keep that one up there, the BMO, the little game thing in the pot.
Yeah.
Just the screen. The screen's not even that color on the program, but that is something I want to go. Yeah, I can't wait to get to the screen because I'm going to do this. I'm going to use these colors on the screen, and they'll contrast nicely with the other colors behind them. Then there's going to be another green that's behind that. So we've got like multiple different greens going in, because greens are fun to tattoo sometimes. You know, like for me, and it's adventure time, so it's their colors anyway. But I changed the screen because it was more fun. It's more interesting, and it's like this is the part of tattooing that I wanted to do. The shiny bits and the little, just the movements and the colours that were fun for me to work with, without that extra work of having to do that thing. And this is another thing with them, I decided to keep it fun, was they were all free. Like I didn't want to have the money involved at all because it adds a stress. And then if I've got like, it's like this is me. These drawings are me. It's my like inside coming out. You know, like it's I'm expressing myself through these, I guess.
How many have you got?
So there's like 20 now, I think, something like that, around there, maybe 21 or 22 or something. But it's like if people are paying, they have like some control now, and it's like they want to tell you what to do and this kind of thing. And I don't want that on these things. So it's like these are on my terms, they're free. I don't have to do it. You know what I mean? It's like completely up to me to do what I want, so I can have fun with it. And I'm not forcing them on clients. It needs to be like a connection. You know, like I figured it's more about the human connection of the picture. But it's fun, and the people who want to get that, the people who genuinely want to get it, and I can tell, I can feel when someone wants to get it because it's free or because they want the thing and they believe in the thing.
Of course.
Because the people who want it, because they believe in it, they're my people. You know, I can feel what my people are like. But another part of it as well is I was like using the Hawk. You know, the Hawk, the Cheyenne Hawk Thunder.
Of course.
With the cartridges. Because the cartridge system, I love how easy it is to use. But because I'm figuring out what was fun about tattooing, it was like I used to love how the lines went in with a coil machine. I've got like some Sunskin machines there. And no other machine I've used lines as well as them ones, you know, the coil machines and especially these ones. And I used to like, you know, drawing and watching the line go in. You know, I'm tattooing and watching the line go in, and it's like, it's fun to just see it go in crisp, you know, when you get it crisp. And it's like, it takes a little practice to get there. And it's not always crisp now, but like, I'm trying to get me
It takes a
things
lot
there.
of practice.
It's fun to use it's heavy to use the coil machine, and it's loud to use the coil machine, but it was from the time when it was definitely fun for me. So I set up the coil machine to do them with, and I set up the rotary shaders with the normal needles that I used to use, where I have like my massive selection of needles to choose from instead of just the few that they give you. I know there are other cartridge companies now releasing with more options, but I haven't really tried those because they've kind of all came out in the time I've been, if you like, you know, when I've not been loving it, so I haven't experimented, but it feels like that's coming back now as well. I want to try different machines again. I want to try different colours. Like today I've been building do again like what I used to do, where I'm going through and going, oh yeah, that colour is awesome. I can't wait to use that in something, you know. I haven't done that for a long time. Like most of the time I'm looking at the inks because it's like, oh, okay, so I need like a purple, probably like a muted purple. I'll pick this one because that works with this. And I know which colours look nice together and stuff like that. It's started being a job or something, you know, and I don't want to do a job. Like this is every time I've had a real job and it's got like where it wasn't fun anymore, I've just stopped it and just done something different. So it was kind of getting to that point again. So I've like figured out now how to love it, I think. And these were part of that. The Terrys were a part of that thing.
So where
did the name
come from?
Yeah, the name comes from, I wanted it to be something that you could relate to, like us. Like I know how people work a little bit, so I know how it would go. If it's the wrong name, it never works. If it's the right name, it can work like relatively fast. I know that it's going to go, I do one, they go, yeah, that's cool. I do a second one, they go, what? I do a third one, they go, I don't like this because it's just that same thing. Then, you know, you go 5, 6, whatever. Then you do one that is a subject now, and it's like, oh, that is cool. Yeah, I get it now. And then now they message, you know, the people who said that they didn't like it in the first place, they message. I know it goes with everything. But what did they even say there? I can't remember why I started talking about that now. What was the question? Oh, the name, yeah. Okay, so it's the right name, basically. So I know that it has to be something that you can relate to, that you could maybe connect to or whatever if you feel that thing. So I'm thinking like something that was relevant. I'm thinking like plant ling or something like that. Like that wouldn't work. You know, something like seed something. I'm like, no, that wouldn't really work. And then it was like Ian, one of the guys who works here, he said to Bethany, a girl who works here with me, think of a name for this thing. And she went, Terry. And I'm like, yeah, cool, that'll work. Just stuck, you know, like that.
Have you got any plans to put them all together in a collection? Like, are you going to collect them all up and put them in a book?
So, I think.
Yeah. So
I think like a book with like because like every single one of them has been like a crazy connection, you know, with the other human. There's every single one has been like there's some reason that we had to do it. There was information, I had information for them, or there was a massive lesson there for both of us to learn. Because it's like I said, there was no money involved. It's just going on purely just on this feeling. If it doesn't feel right, if for some reason I don't feel like I get like a bad feeling from the email or something, I'm not going to do it. You know, like if I get like any like hint that it's not going to be good, I'm not going to. You know, so they've all been like this crazy connection. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to make this book, and I'll have a picture of the sketch, then the tattoo. Maybe like with the sketch I'll have some story. If there's a story that like, if there was a lesson that we learned on that day, maybe I'll do that. Or if there was a funny joke or a funny quote or anything, you know, just like whatever it feels like. Again, because it's about this feeling thing and not about forcing anything. If I feel like not writing anything on the page, then we don't write anything on it. You know, if I feel like writing the stories from the day, but I think it'll be interesting, you know, when it's all together.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I think it'll be a wonderful collection. So, can you tell me, do you travel much?
I have done, and then I stopped for a while I was in that the last few years, and then this year it just seems to have went crazy again. So it's like, yeah, no, it seems like that again.
What are some of your favorite places to go other than Milan?
My favorite place is Denver, Colorado.
Yeah,
I love that place. It's just like. There's something that feels different there. There's like there's loads of logical things I can say as well. You know, observations that I've made, and you know, the fact that you walk down the main street there, 16th Street Mall, and there are people playing games in the street. You know, they're throwing like bean bags into like bins or whatever. You know, like scoring points and doing this. Or there's a climbing frame. People are climbing on this climbing frame, and there's a crowd going, "Yeah, you can do it." It's all like positive. And I don't want to like say this place is bad or anything like this, but you know, like it tends to be around the places where I've grew up and this kind of thing. Like if they ever tried to put something like that in the street, it would have been burnt ages ago.
Man.
And there's none of the bean bags would still be there. You know what I mean? Like, so there's that. Obviously, there's weed in Colorado, and it's the best that I've ever experienced in the world. But it's like as soon as I get off the plane, it's like, right, I feel relaxed. It's like. It feels like I'm back home or something, you know, like.
Would you ever?
So I don't.
Would you ever relocate?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, but it needs to be like the right options, you know, the right opportunities and this kind of thing. I'd like to do it so everything's comfortable, you know. I don't want to like go and have to struggle, but who knows? I don't know if you get to choose that, do you?
Not always. I mean, if you're smart about it, you can be all right. Do you have a favorite shop there?
I've got like some friends there, yeah, in different studios, but I don't really have anywhere that I know. Well, I've got like some place that I think that people would let me work or something like this, but ideally I would like to have my own again because I'm used to having that here, you know, like I'm used to having that situation where I can control the things because after going into different tattoo studios, you know, you get different feelings from them when you're getting tattoos. And I kind of believe that, you know, in different jobs, in everything, and just in life, it's like things happen a certain way and they just go that way and everyone just does the same thing because that's what they learned when they were observing. And it's like you observe the thing, whether it's good or bad, and then you come to a point where you have an opportunity to do the same thing or do something different. And I'm going to do something different guy most times. I feel like something wasn't fair or something was not done right, I will make it fair or do it right now. In my eyes, though, you know, it might not be right in everyone's eyes still. So I could just be as wrong as the people who I'm saying are wrong, obviously.
Sure.
But I like being in control of the studio in the way that my version of being in control of the studio is making sure that everyone is free. Making sure that if they don't want to do a tattoo, they don't have to do it. Like, I'd rather them do one that they enjoy than do one just for money. Like, I don't care, like, if I don't want any of the money, you know, like, I don't need the thing. I don't have any right now, but, like, I don't need to get it from the people because I know that I value their happiness more than that, basically is what I mean. Like, so I want them to be happy, and this is what, like, and I want to be happy, and that's why. And having happy people around you makes you happy, so I want it to be so no one's restricted, so because I've been in studios, where people have to do like the work. It's like, you've got this one to do now, and they're like, maybe they can't even draw that one. And they have to go and do a rubbish tattoo now because they don't know how to do that thing. Just because the guy wants money, who wants the studio.
Right. I mean, and
it's not
that's more common than not.
Sorry?
I said that's more common than not. It's your perspective on the studio is a rarity. I think. It's a great way. It's awesome that you want everyone to be happy. Most shops I've been to don't have a perspective like that.
Yeah, and you can feel that though. You can feel it when you go in, like as a tattooist, or you can feel it when you go in as a client. If you're just a piece of meat or a canvas, as they call it on that TV show.
Oh, that's just bullshit.
Human beings, with dreams and passions and ideas and things. These people are like. I know this because I've done this. And I'm the Libra guy, so I get to see both sides anyway. If you believe in that, So, but like. I've been in the studio when you treat like this. You go in the studio and the guy goes, "If you don't want a tattoo, get out." And it's right. Like, I don't know if I want one yet, kind of thing. So like I said, these are people. Like, you have to treat them like humans. Like I've, when I've been booked in for a tattoo the next day, missed a night's sleep because I'm so excited about getting it done. So imagine you're missing a night's sleep because you're so excited about getting this thing done, and you'll go there the next day and then the person's just doing this half-assed job because they're forced to do it because their boss made them for money.
Yeah, that's crap.
It's like, then you're going to be devastated because of that. So I don't want to create these moments. I want to create the ones where people are like, yes, awesome, like, wow, like that kind of thing. And people have to be happy. They have to do the thing they want to do to be able to give the customer that experience.
Well, hey, we've talked quite a bit. And I've got to move on. I apologize, but will you come back so we can talk some more, like another day?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, we were on a time limit or something there.
Well, yeah. I've got another guest coming up. We got kind of it's a show. That's kind of how it works. I'd love to talk to you for another hour or two, but I've got
like an hour to talk about every single. I don't know if an hour could even put any of my conversations in. I don't know.
Well, I think next time I have you back, I'll do a long form show with just you, and then we can just talk. We can talk as long as we want to, and we could probably do we could do it a little earlier too, so you don't have to stay up so late.
Okay. It's good? Like I just got the jet lag.
Right. All right, so hey, I'll talk to you again soon. Like I said, thank you very much for being on the show, and I'll be in touch sometime this week about getting you back.
Cool.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you again. Thanks. We'll be right back with Ras Jahn's in just a few moments.
Tattoo artists are power creators, not power administrators. Save time, money, and trees with Tattoo Release Forms app. Your client will photo his ID, enter personal information, information about the tattoo, health information, initial legal clauses, and sign his name. When the client is finished, you can make session notes and choose inks and needles from the most popular brands and configurations. Preview the form, sign it, and hit upload. The form lands on a secure cloud in seconds as a printable PDF. If you're at a convention or without Wi-Fi, TRF will automatically upload the forms next time you're online. Return clients can simply search for themselves, check to make sure all the information is correct, and sign again. Done in seconds. Download Tattoo Release Forms app from the Apple App Store for free and enjoy 25 free forms. Also available in the UK, Canada, and Australia.
At whatever stage you may be in your tattoo career, apprentice, experienced street shop tattooer, or fully custom artist, it's hard not to feel a little competitive in today's tattoo industry, with so many amazing artists working in all styles in virtually every corner of the world. But you can benefit right now by learning from the experience of the tattoo professionals who have dedicated themselves to education in this industry. I'm Guy Aitchison, and I've been teaching in the tattoo field for much of my 27 years in the trade, with most of my educational efforts being focused within my Reinventing the Tattoo platform, which has been an industry standard in education for nearly 2 decades. Reinventing was originally conceived as a series of seminars that I held at tattoo conventions, and its curriculum has been filled out and fine-tuned according to the needs of the artists attending these classes. It's now a massive standalone educational package which can be viewed on any kind of device in order to bring the answers you need right to your fingertips. The Reinventing the Tattoo curriculum is centered around a group of fundamental artistic principles of composition, including flow and fit on the body, contrast, positive-negative relationships, color theory, depth, and other concepts, which are framed in a way that is meant to be as useful as possible to working tattoo artists. The material then covers uses of reference imagery and digital tools in your design process, along with a review of alternate art forms such as oils and watercolors and how they can help refine your skills as a tattoo artist. The technical sections are as comprehensive as possible, covering everything from machines and other basic equipment to stenciling and working on various challenging parts of the body. Not only am I sharing everything useful that I know about these subjects, but I'm also enlisting the help of various top-name professionals, such as Russ Abbott, Nick Baxter, Megan Jean Morris, Phil Garcia, Halo Jankowski, and Don McDonald to share their own experience on these topics. You may have already read the book version of Reinventing the Tattoo. However, the new electronic edition has been seriously updated and expanded beyond the scope of the old book, including not only new chapters by myself and our guest writers, but also introducing a massive section on cover-up tattooing, including chapters on lasers and scar cover-ups, plus loads of new video footage to further illustrate the book's topics. Subscribers can look forward to seeing new material added regularly along with further updates to existing content as the Reinventing curriculum continues to expand and evolve. I'd like to invite you to drop by reinventingthetattoo.com to read more about what we have to offer in the Reinventing the Tattoo educational package. It's the biggest and most detailed teaching effort I've ever been involved with, and I'm completely confident that no matter where you stand in your tattoo career, it can help you to take your work to the next level.
Hello, we're back with Mr. Ras Jahn. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yes, man.
Thank you so much.
Yes, man.
So a lot of folks have called you the Godfather of Reggae in Western Massachusetts. Is that a title you accept?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's been a long time in the music business here in the Valley. I've been playing with Loose Caboose for 44 years.
I actually played a show on the same stage with Loose Caboose in 1993 at an outdoor party in Gill, Massachusetts.
Oh,
Yeah. I still have the T-shirt.
wow.
Yeah.
Was that, oh, I remember that show.
It's a whole bunch of bands. It was like up on a farm in Gill.
Yeah, man. And it was their first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very first one. Yeah, man.
That was a good time.
Yeah, man. We had fun. They did a balloon ride, and when the band Caboose started to play, and so the balloon was right next to the stage, so you couldn't hear us to start off with.
You just heard the balloon. Oh, man.
But that worked out good.
So where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Roxbury, in Dorchester, in Framingham, and Kingston, Jamaica.
Right on.
Yes, I.
My grandfather grew up in Roxbury. Yeah, I've got ties there too.
All right.
So how did you find reggae music? Has it been a part of your life, most of your life?
Well, Bob Marley was my original inspiration, so I started collecting 8-track. With the first Bob Marley music I had was an 8-track tape that I had in my car, and I could play it. And I was very impressed with the music. See, I come from a long line of singers and players of instruments. And so I always appreciated when I heard something good, and I would try to emulate that and learn from it. And so I started learning from Bob's music, what intrigued me in the beginning was listening to his early works and figuring out who he'd listened to influence him to do those early works. And so that really made me feel close to Bob and to the music. And so when I first met the Loose Caboose, they invited me to come and on stage with them and as a percussionist. So they that was my first role in the band. And then one night when the original percussionist was sick, they asked me to fill in for him. So I did, and because I had learned all of their music as a second percussionist, I just started singing and playing percussion, and they were pretty amazed that I had learned all of the music. And so they invited me to come on stage with them and do the lead to some Jimmy Cliff stuff and some Bob Marley stuff. And then one day they asked me to join the band because they wanted to play more reggae music and get more into the roots. And they found that their crowds were really responding to what Bob was doing. So then I joined the band. And after I had joined the band, a question arose from their fans, who were mostly white, and they wanted to know why Van had switched to wanting to play more reggae music, and why were they following this this black dreadlock Rasta. And at the same time, around the same time that that question was being asked, some of my previous fans who had heard me singing with lots of different groups in Cambridge, Massachusetts, asked me why was I singing in front of this all-white group? Why wasn't I singing with black musicians who would love to have a singer like me? So I said, well, I don't really know that answer to your question, and I never thought about it. But if I do think about it, what I would do would be to go try to find Bob Marley and to ask him how he felt about white people and reggae music. And if he gave me an answer, then there would be no more question.
Right.
So I got a lot of doubters who told me that I wouldn't be able to just go and beat Bob, and if I met him, he wouldn't talk to me and all of this stuff. But it was the only way that I could see to really move forward and to solve the problem, because I just felt in my heart that me and Bob should link up because of the way that I felt about the music. And I thought that I had an understanding about the music and about the man who was making the music before I met him. And so I went to Jamaica, and I ended up meeting this percussionist who had told me he played with everybody on the island and he knew everybody, and he could get me in to see Bob, if that's what I really wanted to do. So I said, sure, that's what I want to do. So Bob was playing the One Love Reggae Festival in Kingston, Jamaica. And at the time, I was in Jamaica just to see him, and my friend said, okay, I'll get you in, and got me into the show. And then went down to talk to one of the Army guys who was guarding the backstage area. and then motioned me to come over, and then pointed to Bob's bus and said, "There's the bus, you're on your own." And I said, "Okay." So I went up to the bus.
Were you nervous at this point?
No, because one of the things that truly impressed me was here in America, I met very few dreadlocks, very few Rastas. But when I got to the stadium, it was like a sea of every kind of dread you could think about. Talk about an island where all of the races came together and mixed. And so you have people who were Chinese or Japanese who spoke perfect patois,
Wow.
had big locks, were really influenced by the culture. And I saw so many different versions of Bob Marley all over the stadium. And I never felt so at home, like welcomed. Like,
It's amazing.
I had finally made it, and I was there in reggae world. And so when they said, "There's the bus, you're on your own," I knew what I had to do. And so I went up to the bus, and when I got on the bus, the first person I saw was Bob's bass player, Family Man. And I said, "Yo, Fams, I came here to talk to Bob. You know, is he on the bus?" And he says, "Yeah, Bob's in the back of the bus." And so I turned to go find Bob, and all you could see was smoke. Like, you couldn't see any faces, just smoke. And so as I went through the smoke and the smoke parted, there was Bob being interviewed by a woman from the BBC. And so I sat down and waited. And so when she was finished, I came over and I introduced myself to Bob, and I told him what I did and why I was there in Jamaica, and how I had come with one question that he should be the one to answer the question. And so he said, "Well, what's the question?" And I said, "Well, how do you feel about white people playing reggae music?" And he looked at me and he said, "Until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eye, you will always find war." And Bob didn't recognize a color barrier in reggae music. He said the problem is, for some musicians who try to play reggae, is they miss the feel because they're concentrating on notes.
Sure.
And the thing with reggae music is you never try to drive the rhythm. You ride the rhythm. And as long as you're riding the rhythm, you're making reggae music, so there's no color barrier. And I said, "Well, you know, I appreciate, you know, your words of wisdom, and I'm gonna take this back with me and share it with the band." So then he says, "So you're staying for the show?" And I said, yeah man. He says, "Well, why don't you come up on stage with me, and that way you will have a good vantage point for the show."
Amazing.
So I said, "All right." And so then I went up on stage with him, and the irony of that moment didn't hit me until the next day, because I did not know the significance of that performance, particular performance for that day. I didn't know that Bob had brought the two warring tribes, the two warring political tribes, all together on stage in order to show the people that if you can cooperate and you have a real purpose in what you're trying to do, you end up with peace and not war. And that's what Bob was there for. So I had come to watch him play, to listen to him play. I had no idea he was stepping out into history that day. And so I found out the next day, and which really blew my mind, because he took the time to deal with me when he had these much bigger goals to deal with that day.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know anything about that, and but I felt like I had made a friend that day. So later that year, Bob was touring in the U.S., and he was coming through Burlington, Vermont. And Los Caboose was playing a show further north the night before. So some of us decided that we would stop on the way in Burlington and try to catch Bob's show, because we had friends who were working sound and lights, and they knew that we were coming back that way, and they knew how we felt about Bob, so they endeavored to get us into the show. So it was the kind of show that had like an afternoon show and an evening show. So when I went in for the afternoon show, I noticed that the friend who I had met in Jamaica and had gotten me in to see Bob was playing percussion on stage with the Wailers that day. And so I went backstage to hail him up. And he asked me how was the band, how was the music going, and I told him, you know, because we were having trouble at that point getting a recording deal. Island Records was interested in Los Caboose, but their plan was to record the band, put the music on the shelf. If the band got famous, they would take the music off the shelf.
Oh man, that's a rough deal. That's a rough deal.
And they would not give any money to tour. And so we couldn't accept that deal. So they said, well, you should talk to Bob, you know, because he knows about you, and, you know, you should tell him what you're going through. And so I went to Bob's dressing room, and there were some other the Wailers were hanging out in the room with him, and reintroduced myself, and you know, he said, how's the music? And I said, well, you know, the music's fine, we're just having trouble getting a recording. And I told him about the Chris Blackwell thing, and he said, well, you should come to Jamaica and record. And I said, well, I'm sure that would be great. We would love to do it, you know, but so who do I talk to? And then all the other Wailers in the room starts laughing. And Bob looked at me and he smiles and he says, well, you're talking to the gong right now. And see, and I did not know at the time that they had set up Tough Gong, and, you know, Bob was recording.
Right.
And in full control of the studio. And so he says, yeah, just plan to spend 3 weeks, come to Jamaica, and I'll take care of everything.
Wow.
So he basically paid for our studio time, our room and board, snacks.
It's important.
Yeah, and that was an amazing thing. The funny thing was that when I told everybody that Bob wanted us to come to Jamaica, nobody actually believed me.
They thought you were just telling stories.
Just telling stories, but I had started a mailing list, like before my trip to Jamaica to meet Bob, and in the mailing list, I told all of our fans about what was going on with the music, the recordings, and when I told people in the mailing list that Bob wanted to bring the band to Jamaica to record, but that we couldn't afford the plane fare, money just fell out of the sky
From loyal fans. That's great. Well, that's when you know you're doing it right, when your fans are willing to help you like that. You know,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So they paid for 6 musicians and our sound engineer to go to Jamaica. Bob picked up the tab in Jamaica. And it was one of those things where, once again, the irony was that, you know, I'm in the dressing room talking to Bob about recording, and Bob's got cancer and I don't know about it.
Sure.
Don't know anything because one of the things that that happened to us because Bob was interested was that his manager basically took on the management of the Loose Caboose, and because his manager knew that Bob was sick, but because Bob's plan was to record the band when Bob died, all the higher ups at Tough Gong all knew about Caboose and all knew that Bob wanted us to record. So they took over the management, and we recorded at Dynamic Studios, which was down the street from Tough Gong the first time. And when we went there to Dynamic, Peter Tosh was recording, and when I walked in, I had on a Loose Caboose t-shirt, and he saw the t-shirt and he says, "Yeah, man, Loose Caboose, I knew you was coming. I knew you was coming. I get your mailing list all the time." And so that was our introduction.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah. I met all of my heroes in reggae music at the time through that association with Bob.
And now you have become extremely influential to other reggae musicians all through the States.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the things was I've always felt that I was part of a legacy. So when I got back from Jamaica, the band was once again playing reggae music for people who didn't know a lot about the music, had never seen anyone with dreadlocks, and wasn't really familiar with the culture. So we were doing this one gig up at Berkshire East in Charlemont.
Mm-hmm.
And after the show, some of the fans came up to me and they said, we would like to get more reggae music up here in the valley. Do you think you could, set up a show? And I said, sure. I know a lot of musicians. And they said, well, if you do that, then, we'll back you. So I said, okay. And so that was in '85, and that was the first Reggae Fest. And so from that point on, I always felt that, like, for new reggae bands coming up, you always want to be able to play a venue where you've got fans who will respond to the music, and that you're part of something that is part of that legacy. And so from '85, there are so many kids who saw the first Reggae Fest and decided that that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to play reggae music. And so every year we always feature the newest and the freshest new reggae acts that have grown up with the Charlemont Reggae Fest. And so everybody in the valley really appreciates having a place where they can spotlight their music, they can invite their fans, and know that it's a family-friendly environment. And that's part of what reggae is all about, is bringing the generations together. Like the music that is played in Jamaica was first listened to on transistor radios. And whenever you get the right vibe or the right wind, you can get all of these stations in Jamaica on your little transistor radio. And that's what the Wailers grew up on. Listening to that, that's what every Jamaican, every poor Jamaican had at least one radio. And it's like when Peter Tosh first heard himself on the radio with the Wailers, they had recorded the night before. The record had been made, shipped out to all the little clubs, and the radio station was playing the Wailers. And Peter Tosh was taking a shower and listening to himself, and he freaked out, grabbed a towel, ran out in the street, and was playing it, for anyone who was listening. And then they went down to the club, and there was their single there on the jukebox, and they spent the whole day just putting dimes in, listening to it, just because it was there. And the transistor radio gave people the news that there was all of this music that they could be exposed to coming over the airways, because in Jamaica there were 2 radio stations and they all played trash music. I call it trash music.
American pop?
Yes.
It's still trash.
And it was the music was there for the tourists.
Right.
And because that's what Jamaica was all about at that time, was just pure tourism. And then on the weekends, the best musicians in Jamaica at that time were either classical musicians or jazz musicians. This is where the studios got their talent from, because these people were well trained and were hired to basically play the music from the States that was brought back by Jamaican higglers who had these huge suitcases. They would fill them up with every 45 they could find. Then when they got them back to Jamaica, they would take all of the labels off, and then they would play those in the studio one at a time, and the musicians would learn it. And then they would bring in singers to come in, and the Jamaican musicians would record the music, and they would re-record it, and they would give it a new name. And then that night, it would be played in the dance halls, and DJs would rap over the rhythms that they had just taken from the States and record what they were rapping. And then the next day, that was on a disc and being sold. And this is how the Jamaican dance hall first started.
Okay.
This is where they got their music and their inspiration. And Bob Marley, he grew up with a transistor radio in one ear, and in his other ear, the rich people in Jamaica, in Trenchtown, would tell him over and over again that nothing good will ever come out of Trenchtown. And so he had the radio, and he had that in his other ear. And he said, well, I'm a musician. I'm going to make music. It's going to be good music, and I'm going to make money. That's how I'm going to do it. And so everything he went through so he could set up Tough Gong. And Loose Caboose was one of the last projects that he did at Tough Gong.
And that legacy keeps carrying on.
Yeah, man.
You've got some shows. You play all the time. You're playing with the Alchemistics as well,
man.
right? Yeah. You've got a show coming up right here in town, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Looking forward to that.
The Mill Pond Live thing.
True.
So it's they're calling it the Rasta de Voodoo Project. It's a little. So it's what's mixed reggae and in New Orleans.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man. And and that's one of the things that about the music is because so much music was produced in New Orleans and Florida and along that coast that the Jamaicans could pick up on. That message that they got in their little radios, they took that and turned it into reggae and rock steady and mento and Pokemania, ska. All of that came because of those transistor radios. It's like in Jamaica when we went the first time to record, Chris Blackwell put us up in his mansion up on top of this hill, and all around the hill were these little huts, and everybody had their radios. So at night, you could hear like 24 different radio stations blasting 24 different tracks, everything from country western, jazz, blues, everything that you could think of all at once. So you'd hear all of these flavors, and that's what Jamaica is all about. You've got so many different cultures that have come together in Jamaica for one reason or another. A lot of those cultures stayed and became Jamaicans, and it's all about the music. If it wasn't for the music, I don't know where we would be. But, you know, it's really the closest thing to something that's God-given. You know, it's really is. And Caboose, you know, we were so much influenced by that in the beginning. And I just feel like it's such a pleasure to be able to continue to provide the venues and the music for the fans, because the fans have been really, really receptive over the years, and I live for that.
Well, it's been a real pleasure talking with you. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate it. So people can check you out on Sunday, right?
Yeah, man.
6 o'clock? Saturday. I see. My notes said Sunday. Saturday, right on. And it's free, family friendly, Millside Park.
Yes.
It should be a good time.
Yeah,
It's you can if anyone wants to check out more information, you can go to millpond.live and come on down and see this man for yourself.
John lives.
We'll be right back after this. Thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Thank you.
Tattoo artists are power creators, not power administrators. Save time, money, and trees with Tattoo Release Forms app. Your client will photo his ID, enter personal information, information about the tattoo, health information, initial legal clauses, and sign his name. When the client is finished, you can make session notes and choose inks and needles from the most popular brands and configurations. Preview the form, sign it, and hit upload. The form lands on a secure cloud in seconds as a printable PDF. If you're at a convention or without Wi-Fi, TRF will automatically upload the forms next time you're online. Return clients can simply search for themselves, check to make sure all the information is correct, and sign again. Done in seconds. Download Tattoo Release Forms app from the Apple App Store for free and enjoy 25 free forms. Also available in the UK, Canada, and Australia.
My name is BJ Betts. Thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. My love for lettering has been like way before I even started tattooing. I'll try and like keep it a little simple as far as like terminology for fonts and lettering, because I'm going to cover everything that I can, I guess, cover. And yeah, I guess I'll take it from here.
Give me 2 good wheels and give me 1 good eye. Give me wide open spaces and clear blue skies. 2 wheels and I'm never alone. A tank full of gas and I may never come home.
So I approach things in a pretty simple manner. When I'm laying out lettering, this is what I do. I start with a real loose sketch and just go on from there.
So all winter long, they eat canned soup. Pickles from a jar, yeah, you know it's the truth. Yeah. So when town's too crowded to breathe, and the air's so hot that you just can't.
I like to make everything flow together as much as possible. So let's say I have, I don't know, maybe a T and an H, for example. There's a few things that we can do. You know, obviously we can just make it like that. Yeah, it's cool, kind of boring, but I mean, you know what it is still. Maybe bring that H, if it's the end of the word, maybe. You can, you know, bring that H down, loop it around, and then maybe you can bring that H back over, and now you got that. Yeah, I think that works a lot better than this. It looks cool. You can still play around with it a little bit, clean everything up, boom, now everybody's happier and you get to do something cooler.
Hey everybody. What? Yes. All right, so my mic was off. Like I said, that was a wonderful interview. He's a truly unique character, and the legacy he's carrying on in reggae music is just awe-inspiring. And if you want to see him in person, get your ass to Easthampton at Mill Pond Live. The debut of Mill Pond Live music series is this Saturday, 6 p.m. Free, all ages. There'll be local breweries there. There'll be food vendors. I believe Milltown Deli will be there. Check it out. If you want more information, go to www.millpond.live. All the info will be there. There'll be some food trucks, all kinds of stuff, and it's a series. So this is the first one. If you like it, come back and check them out. Easthampton, Massachusetts. It's ever growing. That's where we are here at Off the Map. Thanks for watching the show. Like I said, we'll have Don Cook next time, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Later.
Away from me,